Welcome to the TechAutos.com unboxing of T-Mobile's new HTC HD2 smartphone. This is one of the most anticipated smartphones of the season, and we're pretty excited to have it here with us today. Now, this is launching tomorrow on March 24th on T-Mobile exclusively in the US. So here's the box. It's actually a pretty small box, not much larger than the phone itself. Not bad from the outside. Nice black sort of matte finish. On the back we can see some of the basic specs. Inside there's a battery charger, USB cable, stereo headset, start guide, and some of the main features, of course, the processor, Qualcomm Snapdragon processor at a gigahertz. This is a very fast processor, almost twice as fast as the processor in the iPhone 3GS, so we're looking forward to see how that turns out. Of course, one of the big features is the 4.3-inch multi-touch capacitive display on this. This is the only Windows Mobile device sold in America with a capacitive multi-touch screen. Comes with a 16 gig micro SD card that's loaded with Transformers and Transformers 2, if that suits your taste. And we have a 5 megapixel camera along with a video recorder, Blockbuster's mobile movie rental and purchase app, and Mobi TV, which we'll take a look at in the review. This is running Windows Mobile 6.5 with HTC's Sense UI on top. So now we're ready to start opening the box. We will pull out our little handy blade, and there's a little piece of tape here, so let's see if it can cut through. Okay, wasn't too bad. Okay, and that's on this side, and one more on this side. Okay, and we're set. Okay, now here is the phone itself. Large screen. You don't really realize how large this is until you see it in person. This is very large, 4.3 inches. So here's the device itself. We'll take a look at it in a sec. Now, what else do we get in the box? If we open this, let's see. Okay, so we get a inside this little pouch here. We get the start guide. If you're interested, you can take a look. Some basic information about how to use the phone. We won't be taking a look here, but there's terms of conditions, hotspot info, SIM card, some information about using Windows Mobile, syncing it with the Microsoft's My Phone service, and some other stuff. Now here's what else we get in the box. We have the AC adapter, and this again, just like the adapters on the Touch Pro 2 and other HTC phones, has this international plug that goes in. So we have our US connector that'll just slide into this one right here. Kind of interesting shaped adapter. This is the USB to micro USB cable. The HD2 is one of the first HTC phones to use the micro USB port, as you can see down here, instead of mini USB or HTC's old proprietary EXT USB ports. So the cable you get here is a USB on one side and micro USB on the other. We'll take a look here. Yep, here we go. USB, micro USB. Nothing particularly special about that. Okay, what else? We get a pair of stereo headphones. 3.5 millimeters, standard variety. We probably won't be using these, but you can take a look. And the last thing we get in the box is a gel case for the phone itself. We'll be taking a look at what this looks like. There's an interesting sort of texture on the back of it, if you can see here now. Kind of interesting looking. So let's see how it fits on the phone. Okay, so now to take a look at the phone itself. Again, this is the T-Mobile HTC HD2. The phone has a little plastic sort of wrap that we can take off, sort of slide off. And on the back there's just some information about how to install the battery and such. Okay, so in hand it's a very interesting looking device, very thin. This is around 11 millimeters in thickness. We'll have a little iPhone comparison in just a few seconds, but for now let me just say it's a very thin device. Feels great in hand. Smaller than you might actually think given the enormous screen here, but that's because the bezel around here is pretty small. So basically the device is just a huge screen and a couple of buttons at the bottom. At the top you can see the microphone and the light sensor, of course the big glass multi-touch screen. Below you have some buttons. The send and end buttons are green and red. This is among the only differences actually of the T-Mobile version compared to the European version, which just has these white colored buttons. Very minor differences. Besides that, on the back, if you take a look, there's this nice aluminum, I believe, cover for the battery. Pretty nice looking finish, feels great in hand. There is, if you look at the back, this is the 5 megapixel camera. With video support. We have a dual LED flash. As you'll see in a second, this is, or if you see our review, this is a pretty bright flash setup. If you look at the bottom, this is a plastic sort of soft section at the top and bottom. And if you go down here, you see the micro USB as well as the 3.5 millimeter audio jack and the microphone right here. Now, if we turn to the left side of the device, we see there's a volume rocker up and down. On the right side and the top there's pretty much nothing. Now, one interesting thing about this particular phone is that for some reason HTC decided to put the on button, the power button, on the same button as the call end button. So there actually is no dedicated power switch at the top or anywhere else. It shares functions with the end key right here. So we're going to take a look at the phone itself once we turn it on in a sec. So for a comparison, we're going to bring our iPhone over here. Now this is a 2G model, relatively similar dimensions to the 3G and 3GS, although it's made of a slightly different material at the back. It's aluminum instead of plastic. But you can see the iPhone is smaller. HD2 is larger in length and width, slightly in the width, and more so in the length. Thickness is interesting because the HD2, I don't know if you can see it here, is actually noticeably thinner in hand than the iPhone. And you'll notice this particularly with the 3G and 3GS devices, which are a little bit thicker at the center than the 2G we have here. So overall, HTC has done a great job with the physical design of the HD2. It's a very impressive device in hand. Feels great. Solid. Build quality is very nice. Solid. Really, nothing much we can say about it beyond that. Let's take a look at what's behind the cover here. So if you notice, there's a little bit of a ridge here, so you can take that. A little bit difficult on the first couple of tries. We assume this will probably loosen up a little bit as you open and close the back. But you basically just take your fingernail in here and pop open the back of it. And in here we see the battery. Below there's a space for the SIM card and a micro SD slot right here on the side. And there's actually, here's the preloaded 16 gig micro SD card. It is a SanDisk card. And it is a Class 2 card for those interested. What else do we see in here? We see a little reset key in case you need to soft reset the phone. And otherwise, that's pretty much it. The back panel is actually made of aluminum, so it's a pretty solid sort of touch, a nice design touch to the back of the phone. Feels great in hand. So that's the HTC HD2 T-Mobile USA's version. For more details, check out our full review at TechAutos.com.